Not an airport. You probably paid $8 for a bottle of water, $20 for a basic sandwich, and maybe $50 just to park your car for the weekend. We all love to complain about it, but have you ever stopped to wonder who exactly is keeping all that money? Most people assume airports are just public utilities, glorified bus stops for airplanes, funded by your tax dollars to keep the world moving. But in reality, the modern airport is one of the most brilliant, sophisticated, and lucrative real estate monopolies on the planet. They are effectively independent cities that print billions of dollars every single year, but their business model is completely misunderstood. Today, we are going to break down the exact economics of owning an airport, the psychology they use to empty your wallet, and why the biggest airlines in the world are entirely at their mercy. To understand how an airport makes money, we have to split its income into two main buckets: aeronautical revenue and non-aeronautical revenue. Let's start with the obvious one. Aeronautical revenue is the money an airport makes directly from airplanes flying in and out. Every single time a commercial jet's wheels touch the runway, the airline pays a landing fee. This fee is usually calculated by the maximum takeoff weight of the aircraft. A massive Airbus A380 is going to pay thousands of dollars just to land, whereas a small regional jet pays a fraction of that. But it doesn't stop there. Once the plane lands, it needs somewhere to park. Airlines pay gate lease fees. If they use the airport's baggage handling systems, they pay for that. If they use the check-in desks, they pay for that too. On top of this, airports charge passenger service charges, a hidden fee tacked onto the price of your airline ticket. Basically, the airlines are the airport's biggest tenants. However, you might be surprised to learn that aeronautical revenue usually only covers the basic operating costs of the airport. The real profit, the billions of dollars that make airports such attractive investments for private equity firms, comes from you. Welcome to the magic of non-aeronautical revenue. Once you pass through the stress of the TSA or airport security, you enter what retail psychologists call the golden hour. You've made it. Your flight doesn't board for another hour. You are a captive audience in a controlled environment, and you suddenly feel a surge of relief. Airports know this. Notice how immediately after security you are forced to walk through a winding, zigzagging duty-free store. That's not an accident. That's a retail strategy called the Gruen effect, designed to intentionally disorient you and make you more susceptible to impulse buying. Airports don't usually run these shops themselves. Instead, they act as mega landlords. They lease out terminal space to luxury brands, fast food chains, and coffee shops. But they don't just charge a flat rent. They charge a base rent plus a percentage of the store's gross sales. That's why your burger costs $20. The restaurant has to mark up their prices significantly just to afford the astronomical rent and revenue-sharing agreements dictated by the airport. But wait, we haven't even talked about the most profitable patch of concrete in the world, the parking lot. At many major airports, car parking is the single largest driver of non-aeronautical profit. Think about it. The margins are astronomical. You lay down some asphalt, paint a few white lines, install an automated boom gate, and you can charge $40 to $60 a day. There are no expensive goods to restock and very few staff members to pay. The real estate hustle extends beyond the parking lot. Welcome to the Aerotropolis. Modern airports buy up thousands of acres of surrounding land. They build luxury hotels connected directly to the terminals. They build massive logistics warehouses for companies like Amazon and FedEx who need immediate access to air freight. They build office parks for international corporations. By owning the land around the runway, the airport transforms from a mere transit hub into an unstoppable economic engine for the entire region. Of course, printing this much money requires spending a lot of it. Owning an airport is incredibly capital-intensive. Runways need constant resurfacing. Terminals need billion-dollar upgrades just to keep up with passenger demand and new, larger aircraft. Security regulations change, requiring massive investments in new scanning technology. And as we saw in 2020, this business model has a fatal flaw. It is entirely dependent on volume. If people stop flying, whether due to a pandemic, an economic recession, or a spike in oil prices, the landing fees stop, the duty-free shops empty out, and the parking lots sit vacant. But the airport's massive debt payments on their infrastructure still come due every single month. So, the next time you are dragging your suitcase through a terminal, paying a premium for a coffee, and navigating a maze of luxury watches you didn't plan on looking at, remember where you are. You aren't just in a transit station. You are walking through one of the most brilliantly optimized commercial ecosystems ever designed, a business that turns the simple act of waiting into billions of dollars of revenue. If you enjoyed this breakdown of the infrastructure that runs our world, hit that subscribe button. Let me know in the comments which business model you want me to uncover next. Until next time, travel safe, and thanks for watching.